Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you are new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover here today. So we're going to start here talking about the new Astrobot game. This game was announced during the State of Play, and I think it's safe to say that this was probably the biggest, or at least the most exciting announcement that we got from Sony during the State of Play. It was actually really cool to see just how hyped people were for a new Astrobot game, because I've been feeling that way for a while. I've been kind of waiting to see what Team Asobi is planning to do next after playing Astro's Playroom. I was very hopeful that they're going to make another Astrobot game, something that's more fleshed out, and that's exactly what they did here. We have a bunch of new details about this Astrobot game that were put together really nicely by Shinobi602 over on X. And so here are the details. In Astrobot, you're going to explore 6 galaxies and 80 levels in search of Astro's scattered crew. Each planet is unique, including lush forests, sandy beaches, hot volcanoes, etc. 15 new abilities that take advantage of the DualSense. Barkster, Bulldog Booster that lets you air dash and smash through enemies, metal and glass. Twin Frog Gloves, long-range punching and the ability to swing. Giant Sponge lets you suck up water from the environment to grow huge. Over 70 new enemies, including massive bosses at the end of each galaxy, like the Cobra Queen lady that was seen in the trailer. Defeating each boss uncovers a wonderful secret that will not be spoiled. Die and retry levels for extra challenge. Astro will reunite with many friends from the PlayStation universe, and teases they may play a bigger role in the game. So yeah, based off of these details that we're getting for this Astrobot game, it sounds very clear to me that Team Asobi is stepping it up here big time. 80 levels sounds huge to me. 6 galaxies, a lot more boss battles. I really, really like what they're doing here. I think, honestly, this is exactly what Team Asobi needed to do with the Astro series. But we also have another post here from Shinobi602 where it says Astrobot is a really, really big game. This is what the head of Team Asobi, Nicholas Doucette, had to say. He also goes on to say this is really about going up one notch, really several notches, and having Astro's big story. We call it Astrobot because we treat this as a new beginning. So I wanted to make sure to highlight this as well, because it really does emphasize exactly what we've been talking about here, how this is Team Asobi stepping it up as they're putting it here several notches. And I also find it interesting that they're saying this is basically a new beginning for Astrobot. And it seems like, if this game does well, which I think it will, it's going to be like a staple franchise going forward. I've even seen people saying that this is basically going to end up being Sony's Mario, which is quite interesting to think about. But yeah, man, Astrobot looks like it's going to be amazing. I know some people are a little bit disappointed that it's not going to be playable apparently in PSVR 2, and I understand the disappointment. I was kind of hoping for something like that myself, but at the same time, I do understand what Sony and Team Asobi are trying to do with Astrobot. They really want to try to get it out there to as many people as possible. And I guess making it, like a full-blown, I guess we could call it a AAA, like platformer, right? Something that Sony hasn't really done much of in recent years. I think this is the best path forward. But there you go. Those are the new details on Astrobot coming out in September, just a couple of months from now. Let me know if you're excited for this game. Moving on to the next topic, we have a very interesting update for Metal Gear Solid Delta. This is a game I'm obviously very excited about, and I know many of you are excited about it as well. Being reported by PlayStation Lifestyle, rumor has it that the release date window for Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake Delta Snake Eater has been delayed. The game was announced at May 2023's PlayStation Showcase, with Sony later listing it among games scheduled for release in 2024. However, that may no longer be the case, as a known leaker claims that Snake Eater Remake seems to have been pushed into 2025. The report comes from trusty D-Labs user Billy Bill K, although they cautioned that they are still trying to get a second source to confirm this. That said, the reports have yet to be wrong, so we will be surprised if this ends up releasing in 2024. Now, the leaker also claims that we're going to be seeing an update on this game very soon, likely at Summer Game Fest. possibly a release window trailer. And also, Konami apparently is going to open up pre-orders after they showcase, Metal Gear Solid Delta. And the standard game is going to be $70, and there will be a collector's edition for Metal Gear Solid Delta priced at $200. Although we don't know what the contents of the collector's edition are going to be. So if you're somebody who's interested in buying a collector's edition for Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake, just know that Konami is planning that, and we're going to be hearing about it soon. It's also worth noting that we might not see this at Summer Game Fest. Konami made it seem like they kind of wanted to give Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake its own little showcase, if you will, kind of like what they've done with Silent Hill. We just saw them do that with Silent Hill 2 Remake. So they might be doing this slightly before Summer Game Fest. We're going to have to wait to see, but either way, it seems that this leaker, by the way, is getting some back-end information from YouTube. That's how they're able to basically confirm so much of this stuff. This is the same leaker that told us we're going to see Concord, we're going to see an Astrobot game. And according to Tom Henderson, YouTube is going to start cracking down on these individuals who are somehow like revealing, these videos that are being uploaded to the back end so that, they can continue to kind of like leak these things out. But there you go. That's the latest update we have for MGS Delta. And I will just also add that I'm not surprised if it gets pushed to 2025. We know that Silent Hill 2 Remake is coming in October. So I imagine Konami wants to just kind of give it its own room to breathe when it comes to Metal Gear. Moving on to the next topic, though, apparently Sony will have more to showcase from PlayStation Studios at Summer Game Fest 2024, being reported by PlayStation Lifestyle. Rumor has it that PlayStation Studios plans to showcase more games during Summer Game Fest 2024 in June. If you're one of those who is left underwhelmed by the state of play, don't lose hope just yet. There might be more coming from Sony's first-party developers. This comes from known and reliable insider Midori. Although they mostly focus on Sega and Atlas leaks, which have been accurate thus far, they appear to have some knowledge of what's coming for Summer Game Fest. One of the games speculated to show up at the event is LEGO Horizon Adventures, which was recently leaked and corroborated by several insiders. The game did not make it into yesterday's State of Play, so there's a chance we'll see it at the upcoming show. There's also the chance we could see more Death Stranding 2, of course. We know it's a show hosted by Jeff Keighley. He's very good friends with Hideo Kojima. And we also, I think, are anticipating some kind of Spider-Man 2 DLC, which hasn't been revealed yet, so maybe something like that could show up. So it's worth keeping in mind that if you were hoping to get a little bit more from Sony during the State of Play, it might be worth tuning in to Summer Game Fest 2024. Moving on to the next topic, we're talking about Sony and how they revealed the PS5 is the most profitable console generation to date, being reported by Push Square. There's a growing sentiment among the gaming enthusiast circles, not necessarily always backed up by fact, that console gaming is collapsing. While it's true the market is facing issues of spiraling costs and slowing growth, it's a concern not always rooted in reality. Case in point, Sony just announced PS5 as its most profitable generation to date. That's perhaps a surprising revelation considering alarmist theories that have been circulated recently, like the fact that many people are still playing on PS4. The reality, however, is that the PS5 is selling roughly at pace with the PS4 and is even ahead of the PS4 in the United States, as proven by Circana data. Meanwhile, service games are bigger than ever, hardware prices have remained abnormally high, and subscription revenue is up enormously. In the 4 years PS5 has been on the market, it's amassed $10 billion in operating income, more than the $9 billion the PS4 managed between all of 2013 and 2019. For the sake of comparison, PS1 managed $3 billion, PS2 managed $2 billion, and PS3 ultimately lost $4 billion. Revenue is also through the roof for PS5, matching that of PS4 in significantly less time. So why all of the doom and gloom then? Well, as the graph shows, profits have declined sharply over the past 2 years due to rising costs. This is an enormous problem that Sony needs to solve. PlayStation is selling better than it ever has, but the company as a whole is spending outrageous sums of money to maintain its position. If it can streamline its outgoings, then the business will be healthier than it's ever been. And so, yeah, the PS5, again, is in an extremely healthy position. It's doing way better than any previous PlayStation console generation. But the problem, as it mentions here, is specifically the last 2 years. profits are starting to decline quite rapidly, and Sony obviously needs to get a hold of that, because if they don't, it could end up spiraling and, flipping this on its head. And I don't think, obviously Sony doesn't want to see that, but I don't think we want to see that happen for the PS5 generation. So that's what Sony's focused on right now. But make no mistake, the PS5 and the console in general, at least Sony's console, is doing incredibly well and is in a very healthy position. We'll just have to see in the coming years if that's going to change or not. But moving on to the next topic, we're talking about how PlayStation's most popular studios are still focused on single-player games. Coming from PlayStation Lifestyle, Sony has revealed that the most popular and beloved PlayStation studios are still focused on single-player games. The company held a business meeting earlier, as part of which PlayStation CEOs Herman Hulst and Hideaki Nishino provided an update on the state of affairs at Sony Interactive Entertainment. Hulst and Nishino presented a slide which showed how PlayStation studios are split based on their strengths and focus. Santa Monica Studio, Insomniac Games, Naughty Dog, and Sucker Punch Productions are all listed as single-player, narrative-focused studios. Other categories include partner studios, evolving/multi-genre studios, and live service-focused studios. Partners include the likes of Nixxes and Bluepoint, which help to port games. Guerrilla Games and Ben Studio are listed as multi-genre developers. 4 out of the 5 Sony's live service developers were acquired recently. That includes Firewalk and Haven. And so, yeah, I just wanted to bring this up because it's nice to get that kind of reaffirmation from Sony, where they are making it clear that the main focus of the PlayStation business when it comes to their studios is big tentpole single-player titles. That is the foundation. That is where they're putting the most amount of investment, and that is where the most talented studios are developing, these single-player games. But they're also making it known, as we've seen, it shouldn't come as a surprise, that they are continuing to kind of expand, and some of their studios are evolving into multi-genre. The only thing that's really interesting to me here is the fact that Bluepoint is listed as a support studio. I'm assuming that has to do with their last release being Demon Souls, and the fact that they did help with God of War Ragnarok, but they are still working on something new and I think original. So yeah, just wanted to give you guys that small update. And the final topic we have here is Sony confirming that Spider-Man 2 has done a very good job for them when it comes to sales. They seem to be very pleased with it. Sony is very pleased with Marvel's Spider-Man 2 sales. In its latest investor presentation, the company called it a great success and one of PlayStation's biggest first-party tentpoles. Sony spotlighted the sales of Insomniac Spider-Man 2 during the presentation. The company noted that it sold over 11 million units as of April 20th, 2024. It was also pleased with the game's critical reception, noting a 90% rating on Metacritic. And so, yeah, just wanted to kind of throw this in here as well, because we did get sales data for Helldivers 2, which is over 12 million, which is insane. But Spider-Man 2 is also getting a sales update, which is over 11 million. And yeah, it's still only on PS5. So that's, I would say, a pretty big success for Sony. And, it definitely confirms that we're going to be seeing more Spider-Man, Venom, and Spider-Man 3. Of course, we're going to see this from Insomniac Games going forward. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. Be sure to leave it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.